What's going on YouTube? So you don't need me to tell you that an all-new RAV4 is a big deal because Toyota sells a ton of these every single year. Now this new RAV4 has a lot of different trim levels that it's available in, and today we're standing next to a very popular trim which it has a sporty looking design. This is the XSE trim level, and we want to know, is this the trim level to buy? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, let's kick things off with a spec dump. Now, one of the big things about this all-new RAV4 is that it has moved to hybrid exclusive powertrains. You have a traditional hybrid as standard on all models except for the GR Sport, and then you have a plug-in hybrid as well. This standard hybrid is the 5th gen hybrid system. It's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine with 2 electric motors. This is making 226 horsepower with front wheel drive and 236 horsepower with all-wheel drive. Now, if you choose the plug-in hybrid, that makes 324 horsepower because, of course, it has a large battery pack. Now, with this new hybrid system, you can get up to 44 mpg combined with front-wheel drive. And if you choose the plug-in hybrid, you can go up to 52 miles on pure electric range.
Now, if you're looking to buy a Toyota RAV4 or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. And, of course, later on, we will be taking them out for a spin to show you the performance of these powertrains.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood so that we can start out with the exterior design as well as that all-new interior. So hopping in with the exterior design, obviously with this next-gen RAV4, they've adopted a lot of the latest and greatest Toyota design elements. And with the XSE trim level, we get some sporty design touches as well, because this is one of the trims that's in the sport column of the trim structure. Now, as you can see up here in the front, we have a body color design. Actually is pretty similar to what we have on our Camry. And you can see that it has a boxy shape overall with some gloss black accenting down here at the bottom and inside of each one of the little pieces of the grille itself. You also have blacked out badging. And as we move over here to our headlights, you can see they have a premium design as well. We have standard full LEDs on all RAV4s, of course, but we have the up-level cluster with the top daytime running light and turn signal indicators through there. Also, the XSE gets you this special accent light down here in this gloss black housing. Now, moving on to the wheels, one of the reasons you might want to get the XSE trim level is that it's one of only 2 trims in the whole lineup that comes standard with 20-inch alloy wheels. So this is a gloss black alloy design, as you can see. I think it looks quite nice, especially since it matches the gloss black wheel arches and lower body accents that you get here on the XSE and also all 3 of the sport trim levels. Moving up here to our mirrors, that gloss black finish will continue as well. And of course, you have standard heating and blind spot monitoring.
Now, at the side of this all-new RAV4, we have an overall vehicle length of 181 inches, which is about an inch larger than the previous generation RAV4. And as far as design touches, there's quite a lot going on here at the side. You will notice that all of our window surrounds are blacked out. We also have a 2-tone black roof. This is one of 2 trim levels in the RAV4 lineup that you can get the black roof. I really think that spices up the overall design of this vehicle quite a lot, especially if you pair it with a new paint color like this Storm Cloud. Now, we also have roof rails up here at the top, and let's go ahead and head around to the all-new rear design of this RAV4. Now, we have a completely new look this year in the rear. I think it does kind of look a little similar to the Nissan Rogue, but overall, it's a nice and classy design. So we have a spoiler up here at the top for that nice sporty look. We also have a integrated wiper right through here. Our Toyota branding is blacked out. RAV4 is actually surprisingly not blacked out here in the rear, so it's nice and prominent. And then let's take a look at our taillights. So our taillights are going to be really quite nice, standard on every single RAV4. It's going to be a full LED unit, so you have LED brake light, LED reverse light, and turn signal indicator. And as we drop down to the lower fascia, all of this is going to be finished in kind of a gray and piano black color. I like that it's not all of the rugged matte black. And as far as your tow rating, they have improved that for the RAV4 this year. So 3,500 pounds is what you're sitting at for all the all-wheel drive versions, as well as the plug-in hybrid. Now let's talk safety. So when it comes to the safety department, you are going to get their newest Toyota Safety Sense Suite. It's 4.0, which includes all of your latest and greatest systems, and is also going to include things like a traffic jam assist here on this XSE grade. Additionally, they are including a new built-in dash cam recorder, so you don't have to have any type of accessory. It is going to be just built into your vehicle this year. But guys, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the all-new interior as well. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, let's move to the interior. First, here's our key fob. We have a slightly updated design for 2026 versus the last generation with the RAV4 branding on the back. Of course, you have a standard smart entry system on board. Getting inside, just grab behind the handle. That will unlock the door. And then let's check out the interior. So when we're talking about the exterior, you notice that it had kind of a little bit of a dialed down overall look that still kept the sporty elements from the GR Sport, but not quite as extreme. Really the same thing is going to apply here to the interior as well. And beginning with the seats, what you'll see on the XSE trim level is a combination of the Softex leatherette and also a suede trim. So through the center here we have the suede running in a kind of a gray tone, and then you have some blue piping and stitching, and then the black Softex, which will be the remainder of the seat. This is the only way that you can get the XSE, but I think this is a nice overall color combination that gives you a little bit of contrast but still looks nice and sporty. Now, as far as the seat adjustments, you can see that we have 10 ways of power adjustment, including two-way lumbar support. Also, XSE is the first trim level in the lineup to give you standard memory seats. But let's go ahead and climb on inside and explore the rest. All right, now closing up the door, let's look at the rest of the cabin materials. XSE is one of the higher end trim levels in the structure, so checking out the materials, we'll see that we have a leatherette that goes across the armrest and that continues all through the center section and up through there. Soft touch plastic along the top of the door trim. When we move to the upper dash though, this is going to be a hard touch plastic with kind of a grainy texture to it. We have some more plastic through here, a leatherette covering through the center section, and that will run all the way through here. And then no padding down here along the center tunnel. Keep in mind this is a prototype, so some of this could be subject to change, but all we can evaluate is, of course, what is right here in front of us at the current moment. Obviously, we have standard push-button start as well. Now that the vehicle is all fired up, let's dig into some individual details. We'll start with our gauge cluster. So with the new generation, you can have a floating style gauge cluster. It is a standard digital cluster of 12.3 inches, and we have new software on board. I'll get into that more with the main infotainment system, but one of the big features is you can see that you can put the map now in the gauge cluster. Also, the XSE does not have a head-up display, but it is offered on this trim level. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got a new Toyota design, kind of boxy in its overall shape with a leatherette wrapping. This is a manual tilt and telescoping steering wheel, and you also have steering wheel heating. And then taking a look over here at our interior storage, here's our center console. We can open that up there. It does open actually from both sides as well. And plenty of storage inside. Today we're on a bit time crunch and we're in Arizona, so we don't have our donuts with us, but forward to putting that to the test. This looks like this is going to be one of the better ones for the segment. As we move in front of that, you have a couple cup holders. You have a big old place right here where you can stick your phone or something like that, and then Toyota is doing a storage shelf above that as well, with this side being a wireless phone charging pad on most of the trim levels, including the XSE. By the way, you can actually get a dual wireless charger as well on the Limited. And then over here we had a big old passenger storage shelf, so tons of storage. Definitely one of the better ones in the segment. We have a traditional style shifter on this XSE. Some models do get a electronic one instead. You can go over here to the left if you want to shift through some simulated gear changes. And then when we head into reverse, as you can see, we've got the 360-degree camera system. So nice look to this, definitely an upgraded in the resolution over the previous generation model. And if I press this button here and cycle into our 3D view, you can see that we've got brand new graphics now, which allow us to move all around the vehicle in a lot more of an advanced way and kind of see through the vehicle versus the previous generation. There's your electronic parking brake and your auto brake hold system. And then you got a couple USBs in prominent locations. Now, one big change is, of course, that where we previously had big old climate knobs on the last generation, we have kind of some buttons inside of these squares. These are for drive modes, basically, and also some all-wheel drive modes. And then your climate controls have now relocated kind of inside of the display. So this is a big point to take a look at. You can see we have buttons here for the dual zone automatic climate. This is where we'd adjust up and down. However, the rest of the controls are inside of the touchscreen on this lower panel. So that's how you can adjust that, or you can go into more options inside of that menu. Over here, you can see we have heated and ventilated seats that have an automatic function as well. And by the way, the vented seats are new to the XSE. That's something you could not get with the previous generation. All right, and let's dig in now with this big old infotainment system. So of course, the size itself is much larger than what it was in the previous generation. This is the 12.9-inch display. Also, this has new software. So like I was saying with the gauge cluster as well, we have a brand new version of Toyota's multimedia interface. So one of the big changes is that it now has a home screen. As you can see, the performance also is a lot snappier, and you can bring these widgets and customize this layout to your heart's desire. That's what the built-in navigation looks like. You also have, of course, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Up top, we have an auto-dimming mirror with our HomeLink universal remotes. And then I can press the button here to open up our sunroof. Well, I actually just tilted up, but there it is. There's our sunroof. This is a standard size unit. That's what comes standard with the XSE.
Now let's take a look at the rear seat area for the all-new RAV4. Now we do have official numbers for this model, and because it didn't actually grow a lot in length for this new generation, we're not going to have really any extra room back here over the previous generation RAV4. That's not a bad thing though, because you do still have plenty of room. So we're looking at about 38 inches of legroom, 39.5 inches of headroom. The headroom figure particularly is quite good. The legroom is certainly not going to be class leading. The Honda CR-V, Hyundai Tucson, all of those rivals will be a little bit bigger than that, but of course I brought along the official Car Confections ruler. I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is adjusted to Drew's 5'8" driving position. I'm looking at about 8 inches of knee room, so certainly plenty of space. My feet can also slide up underneath of these seats. And I will say these seats have quite a lot of plushness to them in the back. So a lot of times they can really cheap out on that. And these are actually pretty good. Now, we can also recline the rear seats. We have 2 cup holders inside of our armrest. And let's also talk about some of the other features. We have 2 USB ports right here for charging rear vents. However, you will notice that we do not have heated rear seats. That is going to be a limited exclusive feature here in the RAV4 lineup. Let's take a look at the door trim. The door trim is going to be soft touch here on the upper part, leatherette all through the center section. And then down in the bottom, we do have a little bit of door storage as well. Now let's walk up to the tailgate. When it comes to this, we of course have a hands-free power one, and let's talk about overall cargo capacity as well. So when it comes to this area, that's once again going to not change a ton over the previous generation. So we're looking at about 38 cubic feet behind the second row of seats, and has a maximum 70 cubic feet. The plug-in hybrid does reduce that down to about 33 cubic feet to a maximum of around 63 cubic feet. So it is a little bit of a reduction, not a huge one. And it's worth noting that's a little bit of an increase over the previous generation. Still a little bit smaller than some of the rivals, though, like the Honda CR-V and Hyundai Tucson. Speaking of those rivals, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings, because we've looked at all the compact SUVs in this very popular segment and ranked them in the 10 most important categories to you. So if the most important thing to you is cargo capacity, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain choices, safety or reliability, you can actually sort and see the best options in the segment. So if you want to make an informed buying decision, definitely take advantage of that tool. And coming back to this model, we have 60/40 split folding rear seats. You just, easily reach up there and fold those down. There are not any handles to do it from the cargo area. And let's get our length, width, and height figures It's a car Confections review after all. As far as cargo length, 75 inches behind Drew's driving position from behind the second row of seats, about 35 inches. Opening, 44 inches wide, and then height is coming in at a pretty solid 30 inches. Load-in height, 28 inches, so that's actually a very good load-in height. And then underneath of the floor, I'm happy to tell you, even though this is a hybrid, we do still get a spare tire. Actually, the plug-in hybrid does as well. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2026 Toyota RAV4 XSE plug-in hybrid. We're definitely excited to show you what this plug-in hybrid powertrain is all about. So we're going to start with a hard acceleration, then after that we'll get things like our sound level reading.
Okay, 60 miles per hour. Very nice. So, like Mason was saying, of course, this is our plug-in hybrid model, and this has quite a lot of power, especially when we're talking about compact crossovers. Typically in this industry, you don't have, or this segment, I should say, you don't have a lot of high-powered options. This, I would say, is actually a high-powered option. So, with this 6th generation plug-in hybrid system, you have a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. You have a 22.7 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack, which is larger than the previous generation. That's paired with 2 electric motors, and our total system power is 324 horsepower. So that's certainly quite a lot, again, for a compact SUV.
Yeah, absolutely. I really can't think of another compact SUV that's bringing those types of numbers. That certainly is even more powerful horsepower-wise than something like a Mazda CX-5 Turbo or CX-50 Turbo. Definitely some really powerful options, that's for sure. And as soon as you hit the accelerator, it takes a second there to figure out, oh, I need to do maximum power. But after it kicks in, it really pushes you back in your seat, which is something you typically don't find in this segment. I definitely appreciate that.
So we're going to do another launch now. We're in the sport mode to demonstrate that. Okay.
That's much better in the sport mode.
Yeah, definitely. And I noticed, even though this has all-wheel drive, the traction control light was flashing all the way up to like 20 miles an hour. So there's definitely a lot of torque with this system that it was trying to manage and make sure you kept traction control, on the ground there. But yeah, definitely, I'm impressed by this overall performance, and it does it in a very quiet and nonchalant kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, a couple things worth noting about this powertrain is that it is not just available on one trim level or whatever. It's actually now expanded availability to 3 different trim levels in the lineup. Right now, we're sitting in the XSE grade. It's also standard on the GR Sport grade, so that new trim level for 2026 is now standard equipment, and you can also option it onto the Woodland grade as well. So I'm definitely happy to see that added availability of this plug-in hybrid. It's a really great choice, so I think a lot of people will be trying to choose this option, that's for sure. I also do want to point out that this model comes standard with front-wheel drive. They have added a front-wheel drive hybrid version of the RAV4, but that's not going to be for this plug-in hybrid. You get the standard all-wheel drive with this one.
Yeah, while I'm looking at this, I have to point out the fuel range on this is absolutely insane. We are pretty much at a full tank, but still we have used a little bit of gas during our drive. And it was showing over 630 miles of range combined between the battery pack and the gas range. So that is absolutely tremendous. You can think of all the places you could drive without ever stopping for gas. Quite a few different places. There's an acceleration just on the EV mode, just to kind of demonstrate what that is like.
It's pretty powerful. It's definitely more than enough power to keep up with the flow of traffic, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, kind of throwing it around that corner there, we can talk a little bit about the dynamics of this model. So, pretty good overall, that's for sure. This is not the GR Sport, so the GR Sport does come with the plug-in hybrid powertrain, and that's going to give you some suspension enhancements and things like that. But the XSE still has a decent amount of dynamic ability. I'm noticing as I turn, not like a profound amount of body roll, just a little bit of body roll, and the steering responds nicely as you turn off center without much of a dead spot. It is a little light, but they do boost it up when you go into the sport mode.
Now, I also want to take a second to talk about ride quality. I think you might be curious as to how that rides with the larger 20-inch wheels on the outside that you saw. And I'm happy to tell you it really does a fantastic job. We've been driving around RAV4s all morning long, and I think they've done a great job for this new generation of just, giving you good ride quality while also, making sure you have decent dynamics as well. When you hit a big bump in the road, it does a great job of soaking it up. Even despite the larger 20s that used to not be available on the RAV4 lineup, I think they've done a really, really good job of making it a vehicle that you certainly could take on a long road trip. We talked about your excellent fuel range. Certainly, you could take this on a 600-mile road trip, and I think you'd arrive pretty refreshed.
Okay.
Yeah.
As I suspected, the traction control was definitely trying to manage the power quite a bit. So when we turn that off, that's going to be the fastest for sure. Just a little of the tire spin, not much overall really, because it does of course have all-wheel drive. And like I said, that's the fastest way you can launch this for sure, turn that traction control system off.
Yeah. Now let's get our sound level reading. We have it on fan speed 1. Our ventilated seats are off as well, and we'll put it back in the normal drive mode. 59.5 decibels is what we're sitting at as our sound level reading in the all-new RAV4. We don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to its rivals. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level reading. On our website, we have posted all of this vehicle's competition, and looking at that competition, that's certainly not going to be like the quietest option that you can get in the segment. However, I do want to point out, of course, we are here in Arizona, so certainly the road surfaces are a lot rougher than what we would expect to find in Kentucky. We do look forward to testing this model out in Kentucky to get you that official number. And I also want to point out that, of course, the plug-in hybrid, which should, in theory, be a little bit quieter than other versions of the RAV4 just because the engine is not running at all in the background if you charge your vehicle up. But certainly something to keep in mind. We, of course, also have to talk about all-electric range. I think that's a big, important part for the plug-in hybrid. It's a huge headline, right? And for this new generation, Toyota is estimating 52 miles on a single charge with this vehicle. I think that is an absolutely fantastic number for this model. I mean, that means that probably the vast majority of people that will buy this, their entire daily commute can be done under all-electric range, which I think is absolutely awesome. That definitely checks a lot of boxes for most people. Even when you fully deplete the battery as well, it still gets great fuel economy. So what you're sitting at for this XSE plug-in hybrid after you deplete the battery, that's going to be getting 41 miles per gallon. So still amazing fuel economy even after you deplete that battery pack. And then you can get up to 37 mpg with the GR Sport version.
Let's do today's slam dunk and airball. For the slam dunk, it's got to be this powertrain. This plug-in hybrid has really impressed us. It's not the only plug-in hybrid in this segment, but it has the best numbers, that's for sure, with power and with your all-electric range. It's very smooth in practice, feels kind of sporty as well. We're super impressed with it.
I like it a lot, yeah, that's for sure. Now, on the flip side, what we're going to airball is just the availability as well as what we expect the price to be. Now, we're really hoping with the addition of it being offered on 3 trim levels that this plug-in hybrid will be more common than what it was before, but the main comment that we saw in the previous generation RAV4 plug-in was, I can't find one. They're impossible to find, so I really hope that Toyota increases the availability of these, so if you want one, you can actually get one, and also doesn't make it exuberantly expensive. Now we've got to talk pricing for this RAV4. Now, at the time of us filming this video, we do not have the full lineup of prices. If we can go ahead and get those, we will insert those in either the video description or on the screen right now. However, we do have some guesstimations. This XSE trim level is one of the higher end examples, that's for sure. So the 2025 model started at around $37,500. We are expecting a price premium for this new generation. So I would expect around $40,000 is my official estimation for the hybrid XSE, and then the plug-in hybrid model I would also expect to be around $49,000 as a starting point. Now, if you're looking to buy a Toyota RAV4 or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while dealer negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment down below. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's talk about resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Toyota RAV4's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'd be worth 64.5% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 41.4%. Now, it's worth noting those are better than industry average for all vehicle brands. It's actually the second best resale value of any brand that we look at, so a very, very good figure, especially against all of its competition.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several reliability studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you the most holistic picture. When we take all this into account with the latest reliability data, Toyota is rated as the #1 automaker in the entire auto industry.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you especially want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you do have Toyota Signature set up, a 3-year 36,000-mile basic warranty, a 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain warranty. You do also get 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. And guys, that wraps up our in-depth review of the all-new 2026 Toyota RAV4 XSE. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we really hope you did, we'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family, and you'll also see a ton more RAV4 content on this channel. We will certainly be covering this in extensive detail in the future. You won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.